You stood in front of the mirror, adjusting your dress one last time before you fixed your lipstick. Tonight was an important night. Jungkook had finally invited you to meet his parents. It was really an important event for you. Your heart wouldn't stop beating furiously out of nervousness. Since your childhood, you didn't really like people who were out of your range, the rich ones, especially when they are born in a rich family. You always had a negative viewpoint of them. You always considered them spoiled, careless, with tons of attitude. Jungkook came from such a family too. However, he was the only one to change your thinking. The way he treated you with kindness, respect, and love, he was attentive to your needs, never once making you feel like you were just another person in his world of luxury. As you grabbed your purse, your phone buzzed with a message from him. Jungkook, I'll be there in 5. Hope you're ready, beautiful. You had skipped a beat. He always made you feel special, like you were the only person who truly mattered in his world. You, ready and waiting. Don't forget to bring my baby along. He replied to the text. True to his word, 5 minutes later, Jungkook's sleek black car pulled up in front of your apartment building. You stepped outside, and there he was, leaning against the car, dressed in a tailored suit that highlighted his broad shoulders and confident stance. But it was his smile, that genuine smile that reached his eyes, that always made your heart flutter. Jungkook, baby? Wow, I didn't mind at all. That was the first thing he said. Jealousy quite evident on his face, and you laughed. The little bunny in his arms jumped on you, and you hugged it softly. You loved the pet. Always helped you with stress and nervousness. Ryan, look at you, getting jealous of a pet while owning my whole heart. Jungkook held your hand and stared at you lovingly. He opened the passenger door for you, his hand gently guiding you in. Jungkook, you look stunning, darling, he said softly, his eyes filled with admiration. Ryan, thank you, he replied, feeling your cheeks warm under his gaze. Jungkook, you seem nervous, he said once he started the car. Ryan, a little, but I'm excited to meet them. I know how important they are to you. You pet the bunny in your arms, relaxing under Jungkook's touch when he held your hand. He glanced at you briefly, his expression unreadable for a moment before he spoke. Jungkook, there's something I need to tell you before we get there. Jungkook sighed, keeping his eyes on the road as he spoke. Jungkook, I wasn't this always rich. My parents, they adopted me when I was a kid. I didn't come from money. You blinked, processing his words. Wine, you were adopted? He nodded, his grip tightening slightly on the steering wheel. Jungkook, yeah, I've never really talked about it because it's not something that defines me. But I wanted you to know before you meet them. Your mind raced, but you quickly realized something important. None of this mattered. You reached over, placing your hand gently over his. Fine, Jungkook. It doesn't change anything. I love you for who you are. His jaw clenched slightly, but he didn't say anything for a moment. You could see the tension in his shoulders, the way his mind seemed to be working towards something. Jungkook, you really okay with that? He asked quietly as if testing you. Wine, of course I am. I'm sure you had a reason to keep it, but it doesn't affect us. He finally glanced at you, his eyes searching yours as if looking for any sign of hesitation or dishonesty. But there was nothing, just the truth. After a long pause, Jungkook exhaled, his shoulders relaxing. Jungkook, I knew you'd say that. Wine, knew I'd say what? I don't understand. And you suddenly seem quite tensed. He pulled the car over to the side of the road and turned to face you, his expression soft but serious. Jungkook, Wine, I lied. I wasn't adopted. I just. I need to know, to see how you react. I wanted to be sure you weren't with me because of the money. The realization hit you like a wave, and for a moment you just stared at him, trying to process what he just said. He had tested you. One, because I tested you before. There were pain in your eyes, and Jungkook's eyes widened up as he immediately shook his head to clear the misunderstanding. You tested him once too, for your own insecurity. Before Jungkook, you had negative view of rich people. You thought Jungkook was the one of them, rich and spoiled, who treated women like toys. When he approached you, you were always hesitant in his company. Slowly, you started to get comfortable with him. It was all his doing. He was just that nice, but still, you couldn't get that insecurity out of you. You thought he might change with time, as soon as he finds himself with another girl. You tested him by asking your friend to hit upon him. You apologized later, telling him everything, and he understood. And since then, you never once trusted him again. But right now, you could understand how he must have felt back then when you doubted him. But he hid it behind a smile. What he did right now hurted you, but you were in more pain thinking about how you treated him back then without even knowing. Jungkook, no, Ryan, that's not the case. Please don't think like that. His eyes soften as he places his hand on your cheek, handling the situation calmly. Jungkook, you know how important my parents are to me, and I have seen this happen. People approaching me only for their own benefits. I'm sorry, but I wanted to make sure, not for me, but for my parents. It was wrong. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Jungkook, I just needed to know what my heart told me was real. That you are different. You're not one of them. You are my choice. I can't be wrong. Your heart ached as you saw the vulnerability in his eyes. You understood why he had done it. The thought of getting cheated in future is quite horrifying, and Vine have experienced it. Vine, I'm sorry for doubting you too back then. I'm sorry for not realizing. Or did you accept it with a smile? Jungkook smiled and kissed her head. Jungkook, as long as I could put your heart to rest and secure our future, I would do anything. I mean, did it not help your anxiety and useless stress? You smiled and placed your hand over his on your cheek. Fine, then I'm fine too. If it puts your heart to rest, I love you for who you are, and you know anyways. This still won't stop me from making you get me ice cream in the middle of the night. Jungkook, even if I was broke without a single penny, I would have sold myself but brought you that colorful ice cream every time you wanted it. You almost cursed, pulled your hand back from him, and turned your back at him with flushed cheeks, heart racing fast. He always did that to you with his words, which you knew. They were not worried. He meant every single thing that left his lips. He moved forward, back hugging you, and kissed your neck. Jungkook, I love you. Thank you for always understanding me. Fine, because you always understood me first. Without a word, I love you too, Jungkook.